Coming up tonight on Game All Night, special guest Paula Deming. This Week and Each Week is brought to you by Game Toppers. Upgrade your gaming experience at GameToppersLLC.com.
Welcome to Game All Night.
Well, hello and welcome to another Game All Night. Tonight, I am going to be joined by the one and only, and hilarious, I might add, Paula Deming. And she's kind of sitting in the green room as we speak. So we want to cut to the chase and ask Dan what we're drinking so we can get to that fun part. Dan, what are we drinking?
The fun part after you and I are done, that's when we...
Yeah. You help make the fun happen, so... Don't take that any kind of way.
I did bring the bottled fun. So I'm drinking the 90 shilling Wee Heavy here from Belhaven, which I believe I've had before on the show and is a favorite of mine. I love that heavy malty Scotch ale, but not that interesting because we've done it before.
Right.
What I did pour for you, though, was Victory's Liberty Bellringer, double IPA. So called because they have doubled up the hop bill from the usual IPA, and then also dry hopped it twice. So with that double hop bill, hit it twice. So you're going to get a ton of those like acids in the drink. You'll feel the bitterness in there. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, I like what dry hopping does because it kind of puts the hops up front and crispy, and this is no exception. I like this one. This is nice. Not my traditional big juicy New England, but kind of definitely a nice twist on the double IPA. Really nice.
Yeah, they got a different hop bill than you'd see in your New England. And Victory, really stumbled out of the gate when it comes to back when they called them Imperial IPAs. His with Hop Wallop was their original offering in that. And that was not a big hit, not one of my favorites. In the last few years, they've had this, they've had Dirt Wolf. They're really starting to hit the ground when it comes to.
Yeah, they're finding their hop profiles, which is really nice, right? So speaking of hops, let's hop along and see if our guest is drinking anything tonight. Hello, Miss Paula. How are you tonight?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Outstanding. Are you enjoying a beverage with us, or is that just like water disguised as beverage?
It's not just water.
Okay.
It is something very different from an IPA. It's a Riesling. This is made by Fess Parker, which is one of my favorite wineries in the kind of Santa Barbara area. And it is it's not a dry Riesling. It's rather sweet, but that's actually pretty nice. It's pretty nice on a hot day. It's been really hot in Los Angeles. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's crisp and sweet and chilled, and cheers.
Cheers. I always enjoy a good Riesling because it's like one of those things, especially when you have like a nice spicy food or something like that.
Yes.
Rieslings are great.
Mm-hmm. It really balances nicely with anything spicy.
And a lot easier to say than Gewürztraminer or Gewürz.
Yeah, Gewürztraminer. Yeah.
Gertrude Hockheimer. I don't know. So, Anyway, so obviously, thanks so much for being on. This is a true. I'm excited to have you on because you're kind of
Thank
really.
you so much.
Yeah, you're kind of exploding on the scene right now. You're kind of everywhere. As of recording this,
shrapnel is flying off of me. Comedy shrapnel.
Paula Deming, comedy shrapnel. That's the big sketch show, Paul. That's it. And then everybody else is
dangerous.
The bits.
That's right. They're all the bits flying out, embedding them in your brain, and maybe causing you an injury. I don't know.
I like it. Do you need to wear like Gallagher ponchos made of Kevlar when you come to the shows? Is that what we're thinking?
Yes, probably. Yeah, probably some kind of protective gear or something. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
But you just came off a starting role. So that's James Hudson, who's been on the show as well. Although he was toying with the idea then, so we didn't really get into it too much. But he is really kind of doing something special with that. You just did that show. What was that like?
I did, yeah. It was so much fun. Well, first of all, I kind of can't believe that he asked me to be on it, because I don't know if you've seen who else has been on the show. I mean, we're talking about like Rodney Smith and Suzanne and Ivan Van Norman and Satine Phoenix and the Inside the Box folks. And
Becca
I mean,
Scott's
some really,
coming
really
up and-
cool. Becca Scott is coming up. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm sorry, me in the mix of all these people? Are you sure?
Of course he is.
I
You're
joke,
awesome.
he couldn't get Becca that week, and so I was her.
Okay.
I was her fill-in.
right.
That's what I joke, but no, it was really awesome. What's really cool about that show is it's not, that informational based thing that a lot of board game content is. It's really like, let's get to the human heart of why we play games. And so he interviews everyone about like the game that got them into the hobby. And it was such a fun experience. And it was really cool to sit there. And I talked about Betrayal at House on the Hill and just talk about my first experience playing that and why that made me excited about games and the importance of like using games to connect to people. And it was just really, really fun. If you're watching this show, I bet you would enjoy Starting Roll. Go check it out, Gamma Ray TV. I'm just plugging them now, but I'm not paid to do that. I mean, go watch my episode. Don't watch anyone else's episode.
Yeah,
obviously, give me the views. But
the other cool thing is, and I think it literally released this afternoon, was you also, and you've done a couple starting roles, haven't you? Or not starting roles, sorry. You've done the Geek and Sundry show a couple times now, haven't you?
I'm actually friends with Becca Scott, and I are friends. We were on an improv team together forever ago. And so when she started doing Game the Game, she would just occasionally ask me to come on and play a game with her. So I've been on Game the Game a couple times, and we have a brand new episode airing like right now as we're recording this. It's live on their Twitch, I think, and it'll be up on YouTube by the time this is up. So you can check that out. We played Terror Below by Renegade Games, and I really liked it. Also, I didn't win. So
Spoilers.
You can go watch that and watch me not win and maybe even make a real bad tactical error.
It's hard to play.
Like,
It's really hard to play games on camera, though. It really is. There's so much going on and that you're dealing with that this is kind of secondary, even more so than just having a conversation over a game, right? So
yeah, well, it is that balance of like, I think it's tricky to do board game Let's Plays because a board game is a lot more fun to play than it is to watch someone else play, especially when so much about a board game is like thinking about your own strategy. And that's not always the most interesting thing to watch. But on Game the Game, they always have really great personalities on, and that makes it fun. And I do, when I'm on there, I kind of put my strategy brain off to the side and try to just like be kind of fun and move it along. Becca does not do that. She wants to win. So she definitely is like still thinking about strategy. And she beats me every time.
Wow. That's, that's not necessarily a good host, right? You should kind of, let the visiting team win every now and then, right?
Yeah. Let your friend win sometimes. Come on, Becca. Let me win.
Well,
No,
I mean, that's my excuse anyway. We'll see what happens next week when we play, how that goes down. But
yes, that's right. You're just being a kind host, and that's why you lose so much.
Yeah, I must host a lot. Just saying.
Well, I don't know. I have no excuse because I don't host and I still lose almost every game I play.
Well, do you ever get up to get somebody a glass of water? Then you're kind of hosting. I mean, if you.
Oh, you know what? Good point.
Yeah.
Really good point. Just even at other people's houses now at game night, I'm going to be like, does anyone want anything? A snack, some water?
There you go.
I can just go get it for you. And then
want me to raid the fridge? Cold Chinese?
Automatic reason for why I've lost. Oh, well, I was hosting. They're like, it's not even your home. And I'm like, but I got you that bowl of pretzels. So
I think there's a skit right there, right? Because it's.
Yeah, I'm going to jot that down.
Yeah, I was hosting. What's the other one? Oh, I was teaching you, so I didn't want you to, I needed to
Yeah,
try a
I
different
wanted you to
strategy.
love this game, so I let you win
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
you would love the game. I
Yeah,
already love it. I don't need to win.
there you go. So speaking of love,
Exactly.
you obviously have a love for games. I mean, it certainly
Yeah,
comes through. How did you
thank you.
actually end up getting started in this? Because I find it funny that everybody's kind of journey is so different. So what kind of got
Mm.
you in to the hobby?
Well, that's a great question. I loved board games as a kid. And when we're talking about board games as a kid, I'm sure many people can relate to this. I'm talking about that classic stuff. We played a lot of Sorry or a ton of Monopoly or the Game of Life or my favorite, which I still love, even though it's objectively not that great. I love Clue. That was my favorite as a kid. And so I always loved playing board games, but once I kind of got out of my parents' house and was on my own, I didn't own any myself. I wasn't having game
Hmm.
nights other than when you're going over to someone's house and playing like Cranium or something. You're like, that's the fun game night. Um, and then I met my now husband, at the time, my boyfriend. And it was the first Thanksgiving we were spending with his family. And he was always into games and then had kind of stayed into games even after he
Hmm.
had left his parents' house. And so it was after the meal and we were hanging out with his brother and his brother's wife. And my husband was like, hey, let's play something together. So we pulled out Settlers of Catan. It is still the one and only time I have played Settlers of Catan. Um, and that's fine with me, to be honest. And we played that, and that was fine. And then he said, oh, why don't we play this other game I have, Betrayal at House on the Hill? And he pulls this out, and I was like, what is this? I can be a character, and there's a description on the card, and we're going to build the haunted house as the game goes, and we're going to gather stuff, and there's like text to read, and it's spooky. And then at some point, one of us is going to betray the rest. And not to like, I'm so into this because it appealed to everything about me that I love about acting, which is getting
Right.
to experience other people's stories. And Betrayal, that kind of more, I guess maybe more like Ameritrash games kind of have that in them. You're experiencing a story. And I got really excited about that. And I had a great time. I was the traitor and I won. And I was like, this is great. Let's do this more. And then from there, we've just kind of enabled each other to continue to buy more and more and more games. And it's been really fun. It's a really fun thing that we get to do together as a couple. Yeah. And I play Euro games.
Right.
I've expanded.
You've grown. It's okay.
That's right. I can love a little bit of everything. I can love a party game and a dungeon crawler and a deck builder and a worker placement game. I can love
Sure.
them all.
They're all like little children. It's completely fine.
Yes.
But
They're all special in their own way.
I love that, it gives you something else to do together that's not like,
Yeah.
let's just crash and watch TV. It's like, why don't we'll play a game, then do that. And then it kind of gives
Yeah.
you, I don't know, I love that interaction sitting across the table, even though, frankly, my wife usually creams me when we play games, at least 2/3 of the time. But it's fine. But
Yeah. It's not
I,
about winning, it's about the experience.
it is, it
I
is.
think there are my opinion is there are kind of two kinds of gamers. And maybe
Mhm.
this is being a little bit reductive, but there are the ones who want to solve a puzzle and the ones
Sure.
who want to have an experience. And I say, let's just have the experience. And who cares if we win?
Hmm.
And we got to spend this time together, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm probably a hybrid because there are times I want the puzzle, and then there's times
Mhm.
I wish we had. So Dan is a very obvious person for this because he is actually a little bit more into a game with theme and motivation behind
Mhm.
it as opposed to dry
Mhm.
Euros. And he also represents the group I don't get the game with a lot because,
Mm.
so we tend to favor the dry Euros, and the driest of the dry spreadsheet gave the big old train games.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
oh.
yeah. But I just spent 7 hours playing them on, Tuesday night. But for
Oh
some
my
reason, there are
goodness.
times I really, you know what it is?
Hmm.
It is an escape, right? Because your
Yeah.
brain is so caught up trying to figure out the
Yes.
puzzle, everything else. Just you don't have time.
Well, I was just thinking about this I was doing yoga the other morning, and it's kind of similar, but sometimes you want to do really relaxing yoga, and sometimes you want to do a really physical, difficult yoga, and sometimes that kind is actually the best for the brain because you can't think about anything else. You can't be anxious about your life when you really physical vinyasa flow. You know, you are focused on that. And that's all you can think about. And that's one of the values of doing that kind of yoga. And it's like exactly what you're saying here about games. Like sometimes you want something that takes all of your focus and all of your brain power because that actually is helping you relax from all the other things in your life that you kind of want to set down for a little bit that maybe you'd still be thinking about if you were just playing, you know, a light social deduction game or something like that.
I think you're absolutely right. And I'll have you know, I mastered the corpse pose. I am fabulous. Unfortunately, the lady got a little upset when I snored, but it was very early the day I tried it out, and it was,
It can be very easy to fall asleep during Shavasana, that's for sure.
Especially at the end. You're like, you just put me through the ringer for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Now I'm relaxing. I'm letting the nutrients soak in or whatever they say. And yeah, so I fell asleep a little.
Exactly. And I didn't even need a little pillow thing. Thank you very much. Man, those blocks, I'm like, yeah, you could just leave that there. I ain't touching that because that makes everything hard. That's a whole nother level. Fun. So, yoga and board games. Do you do that at like conventions or anything? Is that kind of a thing that could happen? Maybe you think
yoga and board games? I mean, I guess they could. I've not personally done it.
Just a nice
except for like in my hotel room, like at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, be like, oh man, I'm really sore from like looking down at a table to look at this game or walking around all day. You know, maybe I'd do some in my hotel room, but.
You get tired of the downward facing human?
Probably do. Like, but yeah, convention should probably like have like a yoga session at the start of every day. I feel like everyone would benefit from that.
Kind of like the calisthenics that they used to try to force on us in school back in the day, but kind of something that I think that's a little more healthy and makes sense, right? We're not trying to just do a health program, but it might be something to talk about. I know an organizer. We'll see. Interesting.
It could be really cool. I think people could benefit from that, especially because you're around a large crowd of people that might make you anxious. And doing a little bit of yoga might kind of help calm some of that anxious energy and kind of stretch out your muscles that are sore from, you know, all of the walking around, lugging your Gen Con hall or whatever around with you. I think that could be pretty good.
That's a lot better when I was trying to envision actually playing the game.
That's just called Twister, Dan.
Doing yoga while also doing a worker placement game.
As Dan goes into Warrior 3 over there. Good Lord. Good job, Dan. Nice. I think it's completely doable. Like we can walk around with, you know, a tube of, a map for a game, and it doubles as a yoga mat.
Your yoga mat.
I think my Champions of Midgard mat could double for that. It's so big. So it's quite possible.
Nice. Is it also that nice like neoprene like mouse pad kind of material? Those are also nice when you're game
thinner than it's a little thinner. But you know. It's cool. It's cool. So you mentioned it a little earlier, and it's kind of exciting. Like this Things Get Dicey that you're doing these days. Are you doing anything special coming up? Is there something new that you're coming up with? Because it's been a little while.
It has. It's been. I took a bit of a summer hiatus between seasons, just because we needed to rest and come up with new ideas and spend time in production on those ideas. So yes, actually, next week.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. When we're done with this interview, I have so much work to do.
Sorry.
Next week, we are going to start airing the second season of Things Get Dicey. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. It'll be every other week again. So every 2 weeks, we'll put out a new video. I don't know exactly which day of the week yet, but probably Wednesday or Thursday. It'll come out, and yeah, I'm really excited about what we have in store for everyone this year. Or it's still the same year. Oh gosh, it's still the same year.
Well, it's second season, so that's fine. So it's kind of like buying a
like
car
a new
right now.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the second season, so we've shot 4 sketches right now.
Awesome.
And so now we're just working on editing them and getting them ready. And we have some more in the planning stages that we'll do as well. And it's definitely more ambitious this season. And I really hope everyone likes what we're coming up with. I think it's funny. I try and do jokes that make me laugh and hope that there's somebody out there who also has the same sense of humor as me. So I guess we'll find out. I find out every time I put one up, like, do other people think this is funny the way I think it's funny? Guess we're about to find out.
Yep. So. And that's kind of the fun stuff, is because you're able to make fun of, you're making fun of yourself. It's very self-deprecating, whether it reads that way or not. It's, you can tell it's like things that bother you or they're tics for you. It's like you can tell it comes out.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is. And it's meant from just like a place of love for the hobby. And I think, I was, when I wanted to get into making something about board games, something that uses the things that I love, I love performing, I love comedy, and I love board games. And I was trying to figure out how I could do something that involved all of those things. And I was like, well, there are already so many people out there doing reviews, and a lot of them are, they might have a background in journalism, or they actually know how to write a proper critique, or, I was like, I don't have anything to add to that conversation. I don't think. Nothing that people aren't already doing and doing probably better than I could. So what is my niche? What is the thing that is unique to me that I can do that no one else can do? And that's my comedy. Other people can do comedy, and that's great, and lots of people are, and they're all awesome. But no one's going to be exactly my voice. And anyone else looking to start making their own stuff, no one's going to be exactly your voice. So what's your voice? And do that. And so that's what I told myself. And so I combined like my love of comedy with my love of board games, because like we as gamers, I think, deserve entertainment that's made for us. We deserve to have jokes that we get that make us feel like we're a community. And I hope that that's something that these videos can do for people without sounding too pretentious, honestly. But I hope that this kind of content can help people feel like they belong to a community. Like, we all get this. Again, I hope you get the jokes I'm telling. Otherwise, maybe I'm not telling them properly. But they're for us. And yeah, I'm rambling, but I think you get what I mean.
No, it makes total sense, because as the hobby's growing, we're trying to branch out and do different things, right? Like, you're doing that, I'm doing this, James is doing his thing, this game is broken is doing theirs, right? So it's,
and they're, oh my gosh, they're one of my favorite board game podcasts.
Absolutely. When Dave sings, I know it's going to be a good day. That's
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right? It's like I always end up texting him. I'm like, that was a good one. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yep. Keep doing that.
So if we were to fast forward and we want to make a channel, Paula Deming's, board game comedy shrapnel is going
exploded right into your brain.
It's coming into your board game holes. What kind of shows do you hope to see on the channel? Like, what do you want that, we used to use the term alternative board game media, like kind of this little hashtag. What do you kind of want that landscape to look like?
Oh man, that's such a great question. I think it could be a lot of things. I think this kind of like short form comedy that I'm making is a great thing. You could do something like, you could do a sitcom, that uses things about board games. And actually there is a new show that's just come out, I think, it's called Meeple People. And it is like a sitcom about a board game group. And I think that we could do even more of that kind of thing, or, like a Board with Life sort of situation, just things about board gamers. that has more of an entertainment aspect, fiction or nonfiction, these things like with Starting Roll, the interviews with people, to get at the heart of why they love games. I don't want to steal anything from This Game is Broken, but like game show stuff, just anything that's like entertainment based over information based, because, you can go to many other places for a rules video or, a review. And so what I would want to make, I think I'd want to have something that's more about just having fun with the content or entertaining us with board games, as opposed to just that informational bent. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's just tons of it already. I don't need to do that.
Right.
And if a publisher out there wants to hire me to make a how to play, but no, I'm kidding.
There you go. Be careful. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, right.
You get buried in games from what I hear. But I think what's important, and you kind of express it is that you're able to do things that are funny, that are entertaining to board game people, but they're not all inside, baseball jokes.
Yeah, and I mean, and some of them are, and actually I have at least one or two coming up in season 2 that are a little more inside joke, but a lot of them are really universal things, like if you look at some of the stuff we did last year, like the analysis paralysis sketch, like you can have analysis paralysis over anything, not just board games, like I can't decide what I'm going to order when I go into a Baskin Robbins, like I don't, like how many flavors are there?
31
like,
too
know.
Many.
I can't. So why? So, that's a universal thing that anyone can relate to. You look at other sitcoms, like The Office or say Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something like that. Mm-hmm. Those are about people working in the paper industry or working for a police station, but you don't have to be someone in that field to enjoy what they're doing, because it's just about the relationships of the people. And the framing kind of doesn't matter. And so I think that we can do board game content that feels really specific and board gamers can recognize, but ultimately that framing doesn't matter. These relationships and these experiences are universal and anyone could watch it, which could mean it's a great way to like bring more people into the hobby. Mm-hmm. If that's a thing you're interested in doing, is seeing this is a really fun show and in it they talk about board games. Maybe I should look into this board game thing. Like that would be pretty cool.
Yep, exactly. And I think that is an awesome place to take a pause, to let you all think about that nice little nugget that was just dropped in that last sentence. Yeah. Open, welcoming, spread the love, the church that is board games. No, just kidding.
Yes.
Outstanding. So we're going to come back because I do want to play I have a little gamey something set up for us that we're going to do in a minute, but I'm going to let our gentle listeners enjoy a nice pun from our friend, Mr. Patrick Hillier. So we're going to be right back with more Paula Deming after this. Pontifications with Patrick Hillier.
I never understood odorless chemicals. They never make sense.
Have you or a loved one been hurt in a board game accident, by a table, cut by a card, or worse? Have you suffered a DVT from sitting at a board game too long? Have you or someone you love lost fingers, appendages, or even life due to these games? Well, here at Meeple and Bits, we are the board game lawyers. No one understands board game law like we do. We will fight hard for your right. So be sure to contact us before you make any decision. You can reach us at 1-800-555-BITS. That's 1-800-555-BITZ. And remember to call us because we don't get paid unless you do.
Oh my gosh, that picture.
And welcome back. Paula has not run away yet. She's still here.
No, but I am drinking heavily.
Yes. That Riesling that looks a lot like chilled vodka is going down quickly. So, and who can blame you,
Let me tell you, it's a real burden. to be asked to be a guest on someone's show. No, this is delightful.
It really is. I'm hoping, maybe season 3 is going to get very Graham Norton, and we're going to get like hot pink couches, and we're just going to kind of lay on couches all day, and everybody's going to get tipsy. That's kind of my goal, but
I'd be into that.
yeah, flying people in ain't cheap. That's the problem.
That's true.
And PAX, only so many people come to PAX, and I'm trying to book somebody in like the day before and then somebody the day after, so that hopefully we can have a few people
using
actually
their travel plans. Yeah,
and so we can actually have somebody on said couch, kind of live just outside of the norm. So in honor of your most recent show, you've started doing a new podcast, right, with Matthew and some other guy,
Matthew,
right?
Jude, and some guy named Nick Murphy or something. I don't know.
It's almost like he's a brother of somebody more famous.
It's like he's somebody's brother.
Yeah.
And I can't, who? No, Nick Murphy, yeah. And it actually has nothing to do with board games, even though all three of us are known for playing board games.
It is. But it's also, again, we're getting into this category of doing something that's kind of just outside of our hobby, but still filters in. I mean, the themes and tropes definitely make their way into the hobby, right?
Yes, yeah.
So how the
they
heck
definitely do.
So somebody who is, if you listen to the show, you can tell you're obviously not comfortable with every single topic that comes up. So how the heck did they rope you into this, that you want to talk about things that naturally make you like, what? Whoa, stop. Like, you stop the bus a lot. So.
I'm the mom. I'm like, stop having fun. No. So the podcast is, it's called Death by Monsters. And we talk, for those of you who may not be aware of it, and we talk about the tagline is, we talk about monsters, mysteries, and the unknown. So we just basically take sort of conspiracy theories or mysterious historical events or cryptids, like Bigfoot or the Jersey Devil, things like that. Ghost stories, aliens, very X-Files stuff. And we talk about them. Matthew Jude does a ton of research on whatever our topic is. He presents it to us, and Nick and I interrupt him a lot and either decide whether or not we kind of believe in what he's telling us, or if we have an alternate theory for what we think it is. And there are some topics, you're right, that do freak me out a little. That I'm like, maybe, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about demon possession. That scares me. It's funny. So here's the story. I'll just tell the whole story. So this is maybe slightly embarrassing, but it's okay because Matthew already knows how we got hooked up together. So if Matthew knows,
then everybody knows, right? That's kind of the way.
Well, he's told everyone. No. So basically I had just started putting out Things Get Dicey, and I was looking at other channels that do board game comedy. So of course I was getting into This Game Is Broken. And to come across some random video that Matthew Jude had done for the This Game Is Broken YouTube channel, where I went, whoa, this dude's really funny. Like, this is my kind of humor. I really like it. So then I went to his Twitter and I started looking at his Twitter account. And I saw like a 2-month-old tweet about, hey, I have this idea for a podcast. I'm looking for, improvisers to maybe come on as a host, preferably a woman. And he did not know me. And I'd never talked to him before. And I just responded to the tweet and was like, hey, I know that this is like a 2-month-old tweet, but I'm an improviser and a woman. And maybe if you're still looking, like, we can, maybe I'm a fit for what you're looking for this podcast. And then he reached out to me and was like, I actually had been trying to figure out how to approach you about this and couldn't figure out like how to do it without seeming like a creepy dude on the internet, like just sending you a message. So I'm really glad you messaged me. And then we started talking. We were like, oh, the three of us, Matthew, Nick, and I all get along really well. Like, I think this could really work. And so I just thought it would be fun to do something with them because they're funny and super nice. And like I said, we get along really well. And the topics are all really interesting, even if they do kind of like scare me sometimes a little bit. They're all really interesting and fun. So that's kind of how that came about. And it's fun to do something with them that isn't board games. So.
Right. And one of the cool things is I think that everybody can kind of find a voice in the show. And I don't know if that was like, Matthew's maniacal plan from the start was to, well, let's see, we need to have 3 distinct voices on the show. But you're kind of very close to me. I have a very Christian background. Like that's where my Christian school my whole life. So whether I'm practicing or not, those tropes and things come right along with me.
Yeah,
for the
that
rest of my...
worldview, kind of goes along with you. Yeah, so there are certain things that I do approach from this, like my thing about, demon possession. I'm like, that freaks me out because of my religious upbringing.
Exactly.
And so the things that I believe in or are different from the things that Nick doesn't really believe in anything. He's like the total skeptic of the group. He wants to believe and he doesn't. Whereas I'm like, there are some things that I do believe in, but I wish were not real. Like Nick's like, I want to see a ghost. And I'm like, no, I never want to see a ghost. So why would you ask a ghost to show itself to you? That is no, thank you.
And then Matthew's all ready to storm Area 51 because he's definitely Mr. Conspiracy. So yeah.
He's the Scully to mine and Nick's. I'm sorry. He's the Mulder. Yep. He's going to be so mad that I mixed that up. He's the Mulder to mine and Nick's Scully. And we kind of bounce around a little bit. Like some things I'm more skeptical of and some things I'm like, I could maybe believe this. Yeah, I think we're just, because we are 3 people with different backgrounds, we kind of naturally tend to fall into those 3 different voices. It honestly isn't something that we've forced.
Right.
Like we had a little bit of a conversation. Well, I did. I brought it up because I'm in LA and I'm always like, branding. Right. What's our brand? Should who do you want me to be in this podcast? And they were like, I think let's just see how we fall naturally. And if we need to kind of lean into, a certain version of ourselves a little more, we'll figure that out as we go. But we tend to just naturally kind of fall into those 3 voices. And that's just who we are. It's really, I don't think any of us are putting anything on for the podcast other than, like our podcast voices.
No, I think you're right. I think it comes through as very genuine, and I love it. There's a few podcasts that I have set to go right to the top, and that's one of them because I get a kick out of it.
Thank you so much. It's really fun to make, so great. I'm really glad. Thank you for listening. Thank you for enjoying it.
Oh, no worries. And hopefully a few more people catch on to it, and it's Death by Monsters.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I thought we could play a little game. So I'm going to have Dan queue up a quick little game that I am calling, is it a cryptid or is it a board game?
Oh my goodness. It could be both. What if it's Cryptid the board game?
That may be an option. We'll have to see. So Dan, let's hit the box and make the thing happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cryptid or board game. So this is kind of creepy. So touched on cryptids earlier when you were talking about Death by Monsters. What do you know a cryptid as being?
Oh gosh, I should have a better definition for this word. Cryptids are mysterious legend creatures.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly. That's
like Bigfoot.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Yeah, exactly. So I'm curious to see, and maybe I'm giving Matthew some research material. I don't know, but I kind of poked around the internet, and I thought it would be fun to find out if there are cryptids or board games, and let you kind of see if now that you're becoming this expert, if it
expert in cryptozoology.
There you go. Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to cycle through a few of these. I don't think there's a ton of them in here. If there's 10, I might be lying. I'm not sure, but we'll kind of see what you think as we go. Are you ready?
Oh gosh, I'm ready.
Okay. There's no score in this one. That happens next week when we play a game. Then the score actually matters.
There's still time to
I just want to be smart though.
Oh, well.
I just like to be right.
Well, you're already better than half the people on this show right now, so don't worry about that.
Pick the right cast to feel smart. All right.
Dan had his artwork put on a refrigerator, just saying. So, Mothman, is that a cryptid or is it a board game?
Mothman is a cryptid.
Is it?
What can you tell us about the
Yeah.
Mothman?
Do you know anything about the Mothman?
I don't know a whole lot about Mothman because Maggie keeps saying we're going to do an episode on it, and we haven't yet. And I tried to stay a little bit green and sends me the research he wants me to do for the episode.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to assume it is a human-sized man who also looks like a moth.
Yep. Supposedly around 1966. And again, I think this one came out of, where was this? I think it's out of the South
West
or Jersey.
Virginia?
Yeah, I think Appalachia, for those of you at home who pay attention. Learn how to pronounce it right.
That's right. I love the Appalachian area.
There you go.
I'm from.
Absolutely. Champ.
I do not want to see that coming at me in like the forest at night.
No, not at all. Those woods are scary, man.
Oh, I think I know this one. This is a cryptid and it's from Vermont and it's like a water creature.
Wow. Nailed it.
Thank you. Shout out to the Death by Monsters Facebook group who posted something about this recently, and that's why I know it.
Perfect. So found on Lake Champlain, so it's both Vermont and New York. It kind of borders both of them. So allegedly seen, and there are a bunch of the sea serpents throughout time. And this one was seen as early as 1609. So.
Oh goodness, it's kind of like our own Loch Ness monster, I guess.
Kind of, sorta.
Interesting.
So. Chessie.
Chessie.
Do I need a sand timer for this game?
No.
She
blew through those. We're good.
I got a delay on my end, so that's all. I feel 3 in a row. I don't know, but I feel like this is also a cryptid, but I don't know what it would be. But I think maybe I'm just thinking Nessie, because Nessie from Loch Ness, which is, you know what? I'm just going to try and game this a little. I'm going to say this is a game and not a cryptid. Gosh, I have no idea. Let's say, now you're making me doubt everything. What game is called Chessie?
There are actually a couple. But in order to be considered a game, I had to say there had to be at least like people owning it and people voting on it. So it was almost both. But apparently Chessie lives in the Chesapeake Bay. And then this is the famous sighting of Chessie, but it's actually a kid's toy that's floating in the bay.
I see. Yep. There you go. So Chessie and Champ have a lot in common.
They really do, because we got, we kind of thought Loch Ness had their thing. We need our thing. So apparently
of course. We can't let Europe beat us.
No, absolutely not.
Chessie has a real knockoff Loch Ness vibe to it, though.
Yeah,
that really does not.
Nessie,
Champ feels like it was arrived at genuinely. This is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you'd think there would be a board game named Champ. There is not. I was very disappointed. I'm like, I tried to pick some. All right. Dingo Neck.
Dingo Neck? That's got to be a board game, right? This is a board game about like stacking tiles or some weird abstract something or other. That's my guess.
That's your guess?
Mm-hmm.
It's a cryptid.
Are they all cryptids?
Okay,
what
but
he
looks awesome. He's found in jungles in Zambia in Africa. But apparently he was what is he, 14 to 15 feet long? So I have a feeling.
Another thing I do not want to see come at me at night in the jungle.
Yeah, but I think this one actually could be like potentially maybe it was like a Gila monster that it was confused with or something, because those are on Madagascar and things. So it's reasonable to think that there were a few in Africa at some point, right?
Yeah.
The Great Madagascar.
If there was a board game with this title, that's exactly the kind of game it would be,
it's totally an abstract tile stacking. Yeah. I'm right there with you. All right. And Anathema.
I feel like if something is anathema, like that's a word that means like, right? Maybe I'm confusing
it
it for
means
another
something
word.
to someone. Yes.
Look, we're on a roll. I think it's just another cryptid.
You think so?
No, you're making me doubt myself.
But it's based on like the witch trials in Salem. But it means the cursed one. So fear or
if
the
something
cursed one.
is anathema, it's okay. Okay, knew
Right.
it like meant something,
Right?
but it's a game.
It is. It is.
But it could be the cursed one in the game could be that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That box is a certain kind of art style.
It kind of fits our theme, right? So
It does.
it looks like, you know, frost on your car. Well, you don't get that in LA, but if you lived in colder parts,
Not
it kind of
in
looks
LA,
like frost.
Where I grew up, you could get frost on your windshield.
Ego Pogo. I think I just put this in here so I could say the word.
Ego Pogo?
Ego Pogo.
Oh my gosh. I want that to be a game, like a Haba board game.
The best part is, like,
gonna
I did this like 3 weeks ago, so even it's not even clear in my brain. So it's kind of
I can't even remember.
no.
I'm gonna say game. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I want it to be a game, so I'm gonna say it is. It's a cryptid. Of
Totally.
course, it's another like from Ontario, Canada.
Yeah. Ontario. So it's supposed to be something shark-like, serpenty-like. They didn't really give a lot of detail on it, but I kind of thought the woodcut drawing was
Maybe
cool.
because it's not real.
Yeah.
It is cool. They should make a game about it.
Maybe you should be the skeptic over here and not spooky. Maybe I mistitled these.
Hey, Haba, I have an idea for you. I'm going to pitch you a game about Ego Pogo. So
Ego
call me
Pogo?
up.
A kid's
Do
game
this.
where you try not to get eaten as you cross Ontario. That'd be great.
Exactly.
And it has to apologize every time you make a move. And you're like, sorry.
That's right. Just to get the Canadian flair in there.
Right, you know, we're not stereotyping at all. It's a very polite game.
Very
it
polite.
teaches that. All right, and then we have Tekeli Lee.
To Kelly Lee.
Or
Kelly Lee. Shoot,
Kelly
I don't know. I'm so glad I
Tekeli.
knew the first couple because I don't know any of these. I'm going to say cryptid.
Okay.
My guesses are so wrong.
When you know, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I've only known like 3 of them.
But it's but you know what? That's good. That means, you know, Matthew has material to work with. So, anti-trick-taking game with a Cthulhu theme. So.
Okay, so well, it's then I was right.
So it's kind of close.
Sort of.
Bigfoot. Is it a cryptid
Bigfoot.
or is it a board
Bigfoot
game?
is a cryptid. Could also definitely also a character in a board game. And possibly has a board game named after him as well. Why not?
And a
but
monster
definitely
truck.
a cryptid.
Yeah, it's both.
All kinds of things.
I had to find a both.
Of course.
And then you
I
can
wonder how that
see
game is.
Nick walking around in his gorilla suit again. You know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or just a bear.
Just a bear. Just a
Just a bear.
articulated bear. The Yowie. A Yowie.
A yowie.
Now that sounds like a Hava game. I don't know about you.
Yowie. I'm gonna say cryptid because it kind of sounds like Yeti.
Okay.
Oh my-
And you'd be right.
Yes. My
It's
first
known as-
actual good guess.
It's known as a Yahoo as well.
Yahoo.
Or the hairy man.
The hairy man.
It's probably just some poor, really tall, hairy guy who wanted to be left alone. That's it.
It's just he pops out at people and they get scared and then go yowie, and that's how his name was born.
I think you're right. I think I find no flaw in that logic whatsoever. Eschatten.
Eschatten. I'm gonna say that's a board game.
Totally a board game. Very interesting
a German
area control one.
Spiel de Jar nominee.
Not really that. That was it's very good, but it's not actually
It's not Spiel good.
It's not a spiel kind of game. It's a little dark. It's shot in like literally is set in like Revelation times. Like the end of the world is coming, and you actually are deck building and playing cards to have area control over the world.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's definitely a creepy theme, but it plays really well. So
that sounds really interesting. Maybe I'll have to look that up.
yeah, it's also really hard to get apparently. Like you can only get it directly from the publisher, so it's very interesting. Like you have to buy it off their website or know somebody. But I found it. They came to PAX last year, and they actually were at Gen Con the year before. So I've seen them around. So that's how I knew it was there, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Well, thanks for playing along, Paul. How was that?
You are welcome. I knew a couple of them.
You did. You had me really worried right up front with Champ. I'm like, oh no. She knows just enough.
Honestly, it was just because someone had just posted in our Facebook group about Champ. Otherwise, I probably would have guessed board game because it sounds like the name of a board game.
It totally does.
Be the Champ.
Totally does. But you had me worried, but it worked out. It worked out. So everything's okay
did.
now.
Then I got a bunch wrong, so you're all right.
Well, I think it's just funny to kind of like look through and find funny names. So that's where I have all the fun from. So.
It was good. It was good. Lots of funny names.
Cool. So are you working on anything? Like I know the other day that you complained that you had to buy a bunch of stuff off Amazon for props and things like that. Is there anything cool coming?
Yes. Yeah, actually, Things Get Dicey Season 2 is very close in the pipeline right now. I am busy. We've shot 4 sketches so far, and I'm busy editing, and they should be, depending on when this airs, the first episode of 3 days. Hey, in just a few days, the first episode of season 2 of Things Get Dicey is going to be out and in your feeds, and check it out. And I hope that you like it. So yeah, we'll have some more Things Get Dicey coming real soon.
Awesome. And so I know that This Game Is Broken took a hiatus. Death by Monsters continues to show up in my feed, however. So Matthew might be touring the U.S., but he's still making it happen. So
he's making it happen. Yeah. Well, it was really great because we were able to record a few episodes together when he was in Los Angeles, which was awesome. And then even when he was in Tennessee, where he spends a lot of his time, we were able to do a recording like that the way that we do, when he's home in England, where we just kind of do it all in our own separate homes. Well, the thing that was nice about Death by Monsters is we got a couple of episodes ahead. So we were able to have some stuff built up for con season, which helped because everyone got very busy. But yeah, we're still trying to put one out every week. And hopefully that'll be happening for many, many, many weeks to come.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if you haven't listened to it and you like X-Files type stuff or comedy, you might like it. Check it out. It's on basically anywhere you listen to podcasts. Yeah.
If it has pod in the name, it's probably on there. So
it's probably on there.
Probably.
And I mentioned this before. I'm just going to promote a bunch of stuff. Yeah. If you are interested in going to Shucks, which is the Shut Up and Sit Down convention in Vancouver in October, I'm going to be a guest there. I'm super excited. It's a really fun and friendly small con. I've been both years that it's existed so far. You'll have a great time. Come on up, see me, say hi. That'd be super cool. So.
Right. And you were also just recently you were talking about James Hudson's show, and you also just recently did that one where you talked about
I can't believe he asked me to do that. Have you seen the other people he's had on the show? They're like big time people.
Paula, you're big time. You just don't know it yet.
That's true. I was like, you want me? I mean, you just had, Ivan Van Norman and Satine Phoenix and, and Rodney Smith and Suzanne. And I'm like, and you want me? That was so fun, though. Yeah, so check out Starting Roll. It's on Gamma Ray TV. Go watch that. The episodes are all really interesting, just talking to different people about what they love about board games. It's just a really cool interview-style show that I think everyone would be really into. Just give it a chance. Check it out.
Absolutely. It's fun. I I look forward to each new episode. And like this week, he has on the guys from Board from Life, so I'm kind of excited to see that one. It's going to be
Inside the Box, I think it is.
Inside the Box. Thank you. So that's going to be.
Who are great. Yeah.
Yep. So I can't wait to see that. But thanks so much for being on. So that's kind of your plug.
So much for having me.
Where can people find
thank
you?
you so much.
Oh, this has been a blast.
Yeah, it has been. You can find me on Twitter if you want to follow Things Get Dicey. It's just at Things Get Dicey. You can also follow my personal account on Twitter, which is just my name, Paula Deming, Deming. It's just one M. But if you want more board game focused stuff, that's what's on the Things Get Dicey Twitter feed. Or if you want to watch Things Get Dicey, you can go to YouTube, either just type in Things Get Dicey, or my YouTube channel is under my name, which is again, Paula Deming. Where else find me? On Instagram, I'm Paolo Bandita, PaoloBandita. It's the only one that's not my name because I made it before everything else. But I post about board game stuff on my Instagram. Yep. And where else? If you like video games, I stream video games on Twitch. I do that twice a week, and it's not board game related, but it's pretty fun. So you can check that out too. It's just my name, Paula Deming, again, on Twitch. So yeah, those are the places you can find me.
Definitely, you need a page just for all that stuff because you're
It's
lower third.
I didn't even mention everything. I also make a fiction podcast.
Do you?
If you like, yeah, it's like a radio play. It's a serialized radio play. It's a podcast. If you're into that, it's called Deck the Halls with Matrimony. It's basically a Hallmark Channel Christmas movie as a movie for your ears. It's a series. Go check that out. You can find that wherever you listen to podcasts. If that sounds like a thing you're into, I produce it and I act in it. So yeah.
There you go.
Those are the things. Places. I think I'm officially done.
You are all over the place, and that's a great thing because
so busy.
So this has been a blast. Thank you, Dan, for bringing some awesome beer tonight. This was great. I appreciate it. Thank you at home for watching, and thank Miss Paula for being on the show. So that's a wrap. We'll see you next time when you game all night. So you are Paula Spooky Deming.
Paula Spooky Deming, that's
Chris.
Right.
Atlantic Ocean, Jersey crud.
Exactly.
Oh.
The worst kind.
Bad mic.
Sorry.
I kind of get weird when I meet somebody famous, as you can see for the last half hour. I'm such a Kevin Smith fan. I'm going to start cruising Mulholland looking for him now. But if I ever come out to LA, I'm going to go up there at night and just sit in a bush and wait. I'm sure that nothing bad will come of that, right?
Nothing bad will come of that. That's totally normal. No one will be upset.
Yeah.
I know that you're after me, and please stop.
Yes.